job.
No. What is he doing? He's feeding the key now. Thank you, Kiara. Thank you. Oh, her.
Okay. Hi guys. We should do a bit of a talk at this time. So mix of ages as well. So Blue's the oldest. He's in his late 30s. So he's the one down the front with his head feathers puffed up, being grumpy. And the youngest is Wham, who's over the back of life in the mountains. One of the first things is that they have really dense feathering. So even in the middle of winter, they're trying to scrub the pond and it's freezing cold, they'll have a bath. So really well adapted to cold conditions. And yeah, they don't mind that at all. They're extremely intelligent as well, and that just really helps out finding a wide variety of foods in those environments. So in the winter, snow can be found as well, and just taking opportunities that present themselves. So really smart birds, and it does help out with their survival in the wild. Unfortunately, kea numbers are really low in the wild, only between 3,000 to 7,000 left, so numbers have really dropped away quite dramatically, unfortunately. There was a cull put on here for a while as well, which dropped the population hugely, just because they were believed to be affecting livestock, but that's completely illegal now, so that's stopped. And the main thing affecting them is predation at the moment, so really easily predated by stoats, even wildcats and possums and stuff like that have been observed going into kea nests and taking small eggs and chicks, and they do nest on the ground. In the past it was a really safe place to nest without any predators in New Zealand, but now it makes them very vulnerable to predation. So pest control work is really helping out with that, which is slowly boosting numbers in some areas, but they're really just trying to increase the survival rate of chicks. The easiest way that you guys can help is by not feeding them, but even if you're being very careful, they will actually come up and try and steal food. So kea in the wild will actually come up like this, even though they're a wild bird. They're very comfortable coming up close. They know how to open backpacks and lunch boxes and usually bars. They can pull them all apart. They will jump in people's cars sometimes as well if they've left the door open, try and steal, to try and reduce the risk of that or any potential issues that are happening in the area. So yeah, really trying to pick out areas of vulnerability, and so you can really help out with gathering the information for that. The main reason is that when they're trying to gauge kea numbers and distribution, they actually have to physically sometimes track and trek across those high mountain ranges, so any information that they can get from the public really helps out with that. So that's quite important. The reason that we have them here in captivity, they're actually across zoos throughout New Zealand. They are for advocacy, so you can see them, learn about them, hopefully fall in love with them. It's really lucky that we are quite fairly close to where they're found naturally in the wild, so it means that people will hopefully get the right information when they're seeing kea in the wild, just knowing what to do and how to act around them. But we learn a lot from captive kea as well, so there's not any breed for release program at this stage. We do learn a lot about kea breeding in captivity though, and feed on those as well. They'll eat berries and seeds off our native trees too, so you might see some of the little red berries from our korokia trees. Wham in particular, being from the wild, I think he's really, he really loves berries, so it's just something that he's kind of picked up a bit more than the others, but they will eat them as well. And they'll also feed on carrion, so any animals that they'll die, they'll pick up little scraps of meat and even things like bone marrow, so quite unique for a parrot to eat those types of food sources. But like I said, they just take advantage of anything that presents themselves, so we just want to make sure that people are aware of them in the wild, give them the respect, and especially make sure you don't get anything stolen from them as well. So even here, hear them calling throughout the day. They have quite a variety of calls, but they will squabble. You might have seen them a little bit. There is a hierarchy. It's quite dynamic. It does change a little bit. You might notice Blue, whenever some of the other kea come around, here's an older one, he really just puffs up his head feathers and he's like go away, this is mine. But they will have small scuffles sometimes. Part of it's with the feet sometimes. They'll roll on the backs and kind of fight with their feet sometimes. It's kind of more of a submissive thing, but they will chase each other. And, yeah, they'll chase each other sometimes as well. So it's usually just to try and be more dominant. There's only the odd cases when there's another bird that's really trying to fight for the top spot, that they kind of will fight a little bit more. But they usually only end up with a few scrapes around their legs. So most animals in the wild that rely on their sight and flight and things like that for finding food, they don't tend to go too crazy with fighting. They do know that they need to protect their eyes and stuff like that. So yeah, they're quite smart that the way they figure it out. But,
And you said this is the older one.
Yeah, yeah. So
I noticed he went over there and get away.
Yeah. So he can chase away some of the birds. Tiki's kind of like the one that's kind of in charge, but Blue is kind of secretly, but he'll let Tiki push him around just because he's a bit younger. And then Wham's the youngest one coming in from the wild, and Wham can actually push Tiki off stuff. But if it's something really tasty, Tiki can be like, no, that's definitely mine.
Got you.
Yeah, so it's quite dynamic, but kind of interesting. It's interesting to try and keep track of. Yeah, we really try and keep a good gauge of what the hierarchy is, and especially during training and stuff like that, we need to make sure that when we kind of station them all together, we kind of feed in a certain way that we'll start with the more dominant birds. And once everyone kind of gets the gist that, you know, they're all going to get food, they're more relaxed, But when those dominant ones are thinking like, no, this is mine, I want to get all the food, it kind of makes it a bit more messy. But yeah, we work with them quite a lot so they understand that their time's coming, you know, we just need to be patient. And it's quite nice as well that they kind of know that their station